When you sit down with an insurance agent, it feels like just a regular conversation, right? But what's really going on, in the eyes of the law, is something way bigger. We're going to peel back the curtain on that legal framework that really governs every word they say and every form you sign.
And honestly, this whole explainer, it really just comes down to one single question. When that agent is talking to you, who is legally speaking? Is it just the person in the room? Is it the massive company behind them? Or both? Stick with me, and by the end of this, you'll have the answer. And I'm betting it'll change how you look at your insurance policies for good.
Okay, so to get to that answer, we've got to start with the foundation. It's called the law of agency. This is just the legal concept that defines who's who in this whole relationship. So let's meet the key players, shall we?
All right, first up, we've got the principal. Just think of the principal as the big boss, the one calling all the shots. In the world of insurance, that's the company itself, the brand name you know, the one that actually issues the policy. And then you've got the agent. This is the person you're actually talking to, right? Their legal job is to act on behalf of the principal, the insurance company. They're basically the company's boots on the ground.
So what does that actually mean, acting on behalf of the company? Well, it's not just one thing. It's the whole shebang. We're talking about explaining how policies work, getting you to fill out applications, and collecting your premium payments. And it doesn't even stop there. It includes servicing your account long after you've signed on the dotted line.
Okay, so here's the absolute most important thing to get, the big takeaway. Legally speaking, when an agent is doing their job and acting within their authority, they are the insurance company. What they say, the company said it. What they do, the company did it. This idea is the foundation for everything else we're about to talk about.
So with that in mind, let's see how this one big idea breaks down into 4. Let's call them the rules of the game. These are the principles that govern every single interaction.
Yep, there are 4 of them. And every single one grows right out of that main idea we just talked about, that the agent and the company are legally seen as one. Let's walk through them.
Okay, principle number 1. This one's super straightforward. If an agent does something as part of their job, the law sees it as the insurance company itself doing that thing. Simple as that. But wow, is it powerful.
And that naturally brings us to principle number 2. When you sign that application with your agent, you're not just making a deal with Bob or Susan, the agent. Nope. You are signing a legally binding contract with the entire insurance company.
All right, principle 3. You guessed it, this one's all about the money. The second you hand over that premium payment to your agent, legally, you have just paid the insurance company. So the company can't turn around a month later and say, hey, we never got your payment. Legally, yes, they did.
And principle 4? Oh, this is where it gets really, really interesting, especially for you, the client. It's all about knowledge. Say you tell your agent something super important, maybe about a health condition you have. Well, the second those words leave your mouth, the law considers the entire company to know that information. It doesn't even matter if the agent forgets to write it down or pass it along. The company knows.
But wait a minute. All of this only works if the agent is acting within their authority. So what in the world does that mean? Well, it's not just one thing. There are actually 3 different kinds of authority that an agent can have.
So the best way to get a handle on this is to look at the 3 types of authority. You've got express authority, which is basically what's written down. Then there's implied authority, the unwritten stuff. And finally, apparent authority, which is all about how things look to the public. Let's break them down.
First up, express authority. This is the power that's spelled out word for word in the agent's contract with the insurance company. For example, the contract will expressly say the agent can go out and solicit applications. It's right there in black and white, no gray area. Okay, next we have implied authority. I like to call this the common sense authority. The contract probably doesn't say you can print business cards, but it's implied that they need to do things like that to do their job. It's not spelled out, but it's absolutely necessary. And last but not least, we have apparent authority. Now this one is really interesting. This happens when the company itself does something that makes it look like someone is their agent. If a company gives a person a bunch of rate books and applications with their logo on them, a normal person would assume that person works for them. The company can't just backpedal and say, oh, they weren't really our agent, because their actions made you believe they were.
Okay, so we've talked a lot about authority and who represents who. This is the perfect time to clear up something that confuses a lot of people. What's the difference between an agent and a broker? Legally, it's a huge difference.
Okay, listen closely, because this is the key difference. An agent represents the insurer, the company.
A broker, on the other hand, legally works for you, the person buying the insurance. This has a huge real-world impact. See, an agent can often bind coverage, a fancy way of saying your insurance is active the second you agree to it. A broker can't do that. They have to go shop your application around. So an agent speaks for the company, but a broker speaks for you.
We're almost there, but there's one last, super important piece of the puzzle we need to talk about. It's this concept called fiduciary duty.
The word is fiduciary, and it's a really big deal in the legal world. Basically, a fiduciary is someone you're placing a huge amount of financial trust in, and because of that, they have a legal and ethical duty to always put your interests first, even before their own.
And you guessed it, that's exactly the role an insurance agent steps into. The moment they take your money or give you advice that could make or break your financial future, they are acting in a fiduciary capacity. That is a very high bar to clear, both legally and ethically.
So that brings us full circle. What's the bottom line? An agent's words are the company's words. What they know, the company knows, and they hold a position of immense financial trust. So I'll leave you with this question. Now that you know the rules of the game, does it change who you'll trust to protect your financial future?